All right, welcome back to Perdido Key Gaming. Today we got another living card game. This is Marvel Champions, the card game. Uh, Cooperative card game for 1 to 4 players. Michael Boggs, Nate French, Caleb Grace. So, you got 5 heroes, and like they said, it's a living card game, so which means that there are add-on packs, so you can add more heroes. You get Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Black Panther. Anyway, Fantasy Flight Games, of course. I don't think you can swing a dead cat without hitting a Fantasy Flight Games game. Anyway, let's take a look. Not sure. I know a couple of people that are really into Marvel, and I'm a pretty big fan of the movies myself, except for Spider-Man. Don't really dig it. Anyway, you got Learn to Play, bunches of cards, which hopefully would be obvious, and something to keep all your stuff in. Some little, I'm not sure what those are, buttons of some sort. Spider-Man, Rhino, Captain Marvel starter deck. Okay, so the big movie, I forget what. It's a good question. What year is this? Kinsabe. Got your rules reference. Okay, that's what the buttons are for. To put together your little, apparently some sort of life counter thing. So yeah, all right. So let's see what we got here. We got cooperative card game. So it's cooperative. All right. So each player takes the role of a Marvel hero, playing the game as a character alter ego, and players work together to defeat a villain who is controlled by the game, who is trying to complete an evil scheme, of course. All right. So 343 cards, 199 player cards, 137 encounter cards, 7 reference cards, 30 status cards, 62 damage tokens, 1 villain hit point dial, 16 all-purpose counters, 4 player hit point dials, 5 acceleration tokens, first player thing. So you pick your heroes. You set your hit points according to the alter ego. You select the first player, set aside obligations for each character being played. You got to set aside their obligation cards are used later in setup. And the font's kind of a superhero comics font. Set aside the nemesis sets, shuffle the player decks, and collect your tokens and status cards. And set up for a single player after completing set 6. So then you set up the villain, you select the villain, or I guess you could, pull one out, and it gives you, when you're doing the first game, it gets you, it tells you to do Rhino, whoever that is. And you set his hit points multiplied by the number of players. So 14 hit points per player, and resolve the scheme setup, and create and shuffle an encounter deck. There's a lot of setup, it looks like. Draw cards, draw a card equal to their hand size, which is listed at the bottom. Resolve mulligans, discard any number of cards from your hand and pull those 2 more. And you do not shuffle the discarded deck cards back into the deck. Well, Any setup abilities, then goes into key concepts and things like that. So golden rule, the text of the card takes precedence, which is usual per player, is winning and losing. I don't know if you actually can die in this game. Probably not, because it is kind of a family game. Round sequence gives a whole bunch of stuff. You can change form into your superhero. You can use their alter equals basic recovery or the basic attack, or you can thwart, apparently. And triggering abilities. The villain, of course, minions' actions. This seems a little more, I don't know, harder to absorb immediately, unlike some of the other living card games like the Five Rings and things like that I've looked at. I mean, it wasn't exactly, that wasn't too hard to understand straight up front. Obviously, reading the rules will be a priority, which is, one of my favorite things to do. Starter decks, Black Panther protection, Iron Man aggression, Marvel's leadership, Spider-Man's justice, and She-Hulk is aggression as well. So these, you got the pre-constructed starter decks, and you can customize your decks just like you can in any living card game. Core scenarios, looks like you can do some scenario customization, and quick reference guide on the back here. Then you've got the actual rules reference, which is usual. Instead of going through rule 1, part 5, option 6, it just basically does a glossary and tells you what happens with that particular word. So that's fairly typical these days, maybe for Fantasy Flight games. 15, 17. So you got your 18 pages of glossary, then appendixes telling you how to do setup, and then card anatomy, which is always handy. Scenario card and like they said, you got your 1, 2, 3, 4, the villain, little spin down things there, and all your tokens on the back. Cards here. We'll put together things. Do not open till ready to play your first game. Me too. And do not open. And then got some cards with player phase references on there. Alter ego. You couldn't tell that she might be the Green Hulk. Anyway, that's basic opening of Marvel Champions, the card game. It's a living card game, so that means you can go out and buy more stuff for the game, add heroes to it. Being a fan of the Marvel movies, which are, in my opinion, better than the DC comic movie. Except for, Batman, of course. Who doesn't like Batman? But anyway, that's all I got for today. If you like what you see, please hit like, hit subscribe to keep in contact, and leave me a comment in the comments section. Let me know. Have you played this game? How fun was it? Is it fun? Is it not? Let me know. Anyway, we'll catch you on the flip side.